My name is Louis Conroy. My student number is S1310356, and this is my extended creative practice. So similar to last year, I had to do a very similar assignment where I had to take a piece of hardware, music related of course, and basically talk about its features, why I liked it, advantage, disadvantages, and so forth. But this year, for this assignment, I've decided I'm going to use software, and I'm going to talk about a plugin I use in production. Um, and I use FL Studio as my DAW for my tracks. So I'm going to talk about a plugin which actually is built in with FL Studio. So I'll get it up just now. So the plugin, as you can see, is called Harmor, and at first for me it looks very complex, but now I'm very comfortable with this plugin, like a lot more than others. I mean, they're probably like people. It depends really, like what you started with. Like people will think like Silent One is much easier than this, but of course if you use Ableton, you will never have used this. But this plugin really taught me a lot about sound design and different things you can do with sounds. But I'll get into that in a bit. So Harmor is driven by powerful additive synthesis engine. The synth modules will look similar to subtractive synthesizers, if it looks similar there, i.e. oscillators, filters and phasers, which you can see all at the top half of the plugin. But because they are performed through additive synthesis, they offer more freedom, especially in my opinion. There's a lot more you can mess with in these. Like for instance, if you create a sound, like you could, there's a lot you can do, and it's not so you're not just tied down to a filter plugin. Like that's all you can do. Whereas this, you can mess around with the filter, oscillators, etc. But you've got a lot more freedom. Um, why did I choose this plugin? Well, obviously I've mentioned I use FL Studio, and at first I used a plugin called Citrus, which I can show you. Citrus, again, a much smaller and looks a very simple plugin. Um, for me, when I first started producing, I was very much I'll get presets, but like because I didn't know how to add like VST synths to FL Studio when I first started, I was using built-in plugins. Hence, what I've got on the screen now. And Citrus was one I started with. Um, but after that, I looked at the other plugins built in, and I found Harmor. And this, for me, I think could be released as a VST plugin because I think it's just as good as, say, Silent One, for example. But that's just my opinion. But yeah, I know this plugin. Like my sound design and theory isn't top notch as of yet, but I am comfortable with this plugin. Hence doing a tutorial on it. So especially with like the frequencies, etc., and then the image and audio synthesis, which I'll get onto a bit on in the tutorial. But all in all, this is my favourite plugin in production at the minute. Of course, in time I'll find VSTs. Like Massive is probably my second favourite plugin, but for me, this default plugin with FL Studio is my favourite. So Harmor comes with multiple effects in order to alter its sound. So you can see here the frequency knobs and the envelopes, and here you can also pick envelopes, so already built-in ones, or you can draw your own in, like this for example. So that's again about freedom. You haven't just got options with the plugin. You can draw your own volume envelopes for the purpose of the sound you want to create. It's equipped with distortion, chorus delay, reverb, compression, and limiting. And this plugin is also is ImageLine, which Maximus is also part of. And this plugin is powered by Maximus, which is a limiting mastering plugin, which I can show you as well in the effects rack. So Maximus here, you can see it looks like a very typical limiter mastering plugin. So say I had a sound created, or like a loop, say what I'd made in the piano roll in a track, and I used Harmor to make it. Because it's powered by Maximus, which is a limiter, if I use the limiting effects in Harmor, I wouldn't need to add any effects like in me mixer, if you get it, like, so because it's already powered by a master and limiting plugin, and it has them options already built in with the plugin. I think in this side of the plugin, then I don't need to add effects. So with most synths, Harmor is equipped with a keyboard. You can see at the bottom here. Now, through just my own production style, I don't have a MIDI keyboard, and I don't play like with the keys on my computer keyboard. I literally, once I'd found my sound, just press this little arrow here, and I'd go straight in the piano roll, draw my notes in, etc. But that's not just with Harmor, that's just with any plugin, and that's just my production in general. So once I'd made the sound I'd wanted, or even if it was just a preset, I would just go straight in the piano roll and start making my melodies. Harmor, which I touched on before, includes audio synthesis and image synthesis, so it gives you the ability to manipulate audio files and redesign them, or better still, resample them. And why I'm mentioning this is because for me, resampling sound is a massive factor in my own productions. So in a lot of my tracks, I would like, as long as legal of course, I would take a sample or take like a stab from another track or from a sample pack. And here where you've got this image section, I would drag and drop the audio file into here, and then it becomes on the keyboard. So for example, best example is with vocal chops in EDM, so I use a lot. Try and find a sample. So here is Dero vocal shout or shot. I used once using this plugin for a vocal chop in a track, because all I did was I dropped it in here. I played around a bit with like effects, sub and that, and you can shorten it, etc. Like this. And there's obviously a lot of reverb on it there, and obviously the frequency tab I use a lot. So it doesn't sound that good here, but obviously I haven't got a melody, so I'm just playing the sample. But then, so say I'd added all my effects, etc., even in FX, like the filter here, reverb, so played around with that, the distortion, etc. Oh, here's the reverb, sorry. I'd turn the wet down usually. I would just go straight to the piano roll, and then I would start drawing my notes in, if it worked. So, but yeah, I'm not going to draw a full melody, but it doesn't keep them in the same key or same pitch as the sample. Once you've dragged it into the image section part on here, then of course it becomes the keyboard, so it's as if it is sound. So I'll just open a new one, just start again. I'm going to go on to like the presets and that, and a bit on sound design. So yeah, if you want, this is obviously the default how it starts, like most synths. But if you just went up here to this arrow, presets, and you've got multiple options here: harp, bass, bell, FX, even keyboard. Like so, if you just wanted a piano, go to piano. And this is a piano like I use a lot in my production. Like it does sound very basic, but with a bit of effect, and using the FX or reverb, etc., and not so much delay, but distortion as well, just to make the piano sound bigger. Like I wouldn't use distortion on like leads because I don't want to make things too loud. But with pianos, I would use the distortion effect within the plugin, especially with this one. It also has so you can create save presets. So once you've made your own sound, you can save the preset. So at the bottom of here, so say this EDM plug, Future Bass Synth, Future Chords are all plugins I've made myself. So this EDM plug, a lot of this was to do with the envelope and sub, and I didn't really play around too much with it. I think what I did originally was get a preset and just edit it a bit myself, so it didn't sound so like the preset I'd got. It also has the portamento option, which I love. This I learned from watching a tutorial from a producer, where basically he has loads of notes in a melody, but rather than so notes like on top of each other. So rather than not like layers, but like overlapping, but it sounded messy. But as soon as you added portamento, they sounded clean, like they smoothed into each other. And this here you can limit, yeah. So when you say I turn it off, that goes off, and then you can limit like how much you can hear it, etc. I would normally have it full, as that is the purpose. And this pluck I really like. So this especially I would use in tracks where I've got piano chords and then I'm going into a more EDM-y, synthy pluck, like a trance pluck. I would slowly just add an automation, create automation clip on the melody, on the piano clip, and then just use that and bring it up. So for me, this plugin offers a lot of freedom in what you can do. I'm not a master at it, as you can tell, but it's a plugin I'm most comfortable with when I produce, and I think I've used it in almost all my tracks what I can remember. And for an EP I'm working on at the minute, this plugin is used quite a lot. Comparing it to other plugins, well, in FL Studio, I'd say this is the best built-in plugin for, I'd say, for like professional, like, well, my genre EDM for professional. Um, I mean, the presets as well you can get are really good, like leads, like layer that kind of sound. You've got either you could make it more big room or trance, etc. Hard style. So it's got a wide range of functions and sounds already, and of course you can save your own presets. Um, Compared to Silent One, I use it when I've like gone on Ableton a bit. I've used Silent One. I think they're very similar. Um, I'm not sure if Silent One is um, what was it, an additive plugin or not. I think it is, but I think effect-wise on this plugin and options with effects, you can do a lot more. Like Silent One, yeah, for sound design is probably better, but I think in terms of what you can do with sounds on Harmor, you've got a lot better option. And I don't think you can do the image section, so your own, so the audio synthesis with Silent One. But this is for me. People in the past have said you won't get a professional release made on FL Studio, but some of the biggest artists in EDM use FL Studio, and in tutorials I've watched have used this plugin in massive tracks, which I was surprised at myself because I was like, oh, it's just a built-in plugin in FL Studio, but it's actually a great plugin. Um, Again, presets is what I use most, but as well as like dropping in um, samples, etc. Like you can do it with drums. Um, Find a drum. Loads of samples here. Well, anyway, you can get it with. Won't be able to hear that, but that's like a sub drop. I've done that before with a track when I couldn't make the right bass I wanted. I just wanted that like sub, drop like kick for like a really bassy trap track. So I just dropped it in, um, and again piano roll, and then that's not that one, but you get the idea. You can, again, it's all about that. A sample you could completely recreate, and it could be your own sound. So yeah, in quick conclusion, I've mentioned this is my favorite plugin, mainly for the resampling and all this FX and creating your own volume envelopes, rather than having to create the sound and then using, like, say, an effects plugin on top of the sound plugin you've used. Whereas this one, you can, once you've got a sound, you can do pretty much everything in it. Um, and like layering, like everything. I think with this, I think I've used in one like a break for a big room track. I've used a preset like that one I had before, using like drumming notes in, but then I've got like a stab, like a big room stab from a track, and dropped it into the image. I'll try and find that. Um, and once you've dropped an image in, you can just drop the other one right back on top. So there's Animal Stuff from the famous Big Room track Animals. Um, Again. So yeah, I keep saying the image section, so audio synthesis, is my favorite part about the plugin. My least favorite part, but that's because maybe I haven't looked into it so much, is working out what everything does myself. Like, I know the FX, I know envelopes and that, and like these frequency filters, etc., and the portamento, but for own sound design, I'd have to look into like how, from, like, say, like, rather than just putting dropping samples in, um, creating my own same sound, but using the keyboard and using all the effects. Um, but yeah, other disadvantages. Maybe I think it should be released as a VST, so people using other DAWs could use it, but that's not necessarily a disadvantage. But I think for being a built-in plugin with a DAW, I think it's a really good synth. Um, I always have used it and will continue to probably use it, just because I know quite a lot about it, and it's taught us a lot about like FX. And I didn't know you could do this with synths, dropping in and resampling. So yeah, that was my extended creative practice.